make some chickpea hummus. But I think I'll turn you around this way. Hello, hello. So we have this, and we have... We need a new one. We'll just get a jar. Sorry, didn't mean to put this hand right over your face. So we need a regular canning jar. I wonder if we could do it in a small jar. In one of these sized. I think that might work. So we have to do all this stuff again, you know, now if I can make this go down. There. Let's see how this works. Look at that. And what do I need with this? I need a can opener. So, here we go. I like that. Cast your cares upon him, for he careth for you. Hi, Scotty. Sorry I couldn't see you before, but I saw the deer. Isn't that cool? I'm going to make hummus. So, obviously, there's a little too much. Oh, shoot! Oh, not too much in there now. Okay, where's that spatula? This is better for picking up things like this. Okay, I have to dump out the water or the juice.
This injury about which we're speaking also includes the in-between phase of life. Winston Churchill, for instance, endured a decade which was called his wilderness years. He was out of the circles of power.
Okay, so now we need some other stuff for it. Tahini. So we need hummus, avocado oil or any oil, garlic, lemon juice, and tahini. Ta-da! So we'll put in some oil, and then we'll put in some tahini. Anything else? Let's put some of this stuff in it. Where did I put it? Here it is. Let's put some of this horseradish stuff in it. There. And then we'll put that little, oops, sorry. Oh wait, are they, it's over here, yeah. So we put this on it.
Can we endure being underwhelmed? Can we endure being unused and unsung? Unresponded to.
Put this on first. I just wanted to warm it up first because it's very low. Give it a moment. I can see it all going in there.
We endure when we cannot explain. And it is a silence which bespeaks certitude.
Okay.
With the gift of patience,
See how it tastes. Pretty good. Needs something though. Maybe it's salt. Put a little salt in.
We're not equipped to answer fully such a question, but we should never assume that because it is unexplainable by us, that it is unexplainable. Even while we should see thankfully as opportunities for service, even when the one being served is not. There are also the flat periods in life, which may be those periods when before new lessons come in upon us.
Yeah, maybe I'll make soap again. I was thinking of that. I think I'll give it to the food bank.
These outwardly flat periods of life, when enduring well may not seem to be purposeful, are probably the period of time in which quietly attitude to reincarnation occurs in our hearts and live our lives. This means, frankly, that an experience must
Maybe it needs more
be passed through,
lemon.
absorbed into the memory.
There we go. Okay, now to sit down with some cucumbers and eat.
That slow shift may be hardly perceptible. Trying to watch it would be like trying to watch the grass grow.
Very tasty. Okay, that's all. Now what am I getting? Cucumber.
Any more than one can rush through the period of one's youth.
Want to hang out? We can hang out over here. I hope I didn't wreck my blender. I never know how good these things are, you know. So now I have to put you on. Okay. Now, how come you're upside down? And you're saying your orientation is locked. There, now you're not. Did you see it say that too, or just me? There we go. Okay. I can bring this little table over here. Okay, there we go. There, hello, hello. Now, you can sit there, and I can sit here, and we're going to work on this cucumber. So what's been happening here? You like roasted pepper hummus. I like the one with the caramelized onions. I should make it, right? Wasn't that fun seeing the deer? I know it got dark out there. That was really cool. I wonder what time she'll come back. I think she has a circuit. But usually it's the bucks that are alone. And the does are in groups. So maybe it is a buck. Maybe it's a young buck. I'll have to go back and look at the video and analyze her front shoulders versus her hind quarters. A buck has wider shoulders than back end, whereas the female has a wider back end, narrower shoulders. Also, the neck of a buck is much more solid than a doe's. There would be antlers, except that it's January. And they drop their antlers in January or December or February. But I think it's one that grew up here. I've had a few of them over the years, but there's hunting season, you know, so I don't know who makes it through. Down the road last night, there were a whole bunch of deer coming down my friend's driveway, and I realized that she probably feeds the deer. But you know, if they are out there walking around, they're in groups in the winter, except the buck. Maybe it is a buck. All bucks are named Bucky. I got to show you my deer. I got to see the deer. She was here earlier than I thought she would be. So what time is it anyway? It is 5 after 6. So maybe at 5:30. That's when she was here, just before sunrise. Well, how can they be everywhere just before sunrise? Sunset. I mean, night. Dusk. Well, I just answered my question. They're not everywhere. They are somewhere before it sunsets, and somewhere right after the sun sets, and somewhere before it gets dark, and somewhere when it gets dark. And so that's not all in one place. Those are all the places we see them. I don't know if they're also on the move later. I think they're pretty nocturnal. They're not completely. I think they lie down at night, but they don't really fall asleep. They have little tiny moments of napping. Always alert. It's amazing how they can function without REM sleep. It was a Toyota. I think it was a Toyota Corolla. Or maybe a Coronet. I'm pretty sure that's the one. No, wait, that was my dad's car. Was it a Ford? It was one of those Ford cars that was all the rage at one time. I don't know what it was. A Dodge. A Dodge. No, it was a Toyota. I have no idea. Hi, Jeannie. Did you get to see the deer, Jeannie? Oh, it's probably not available yet, but the deer came out at the end of the living room at that big door, and then he came to the other bedroom door, and then he went to the under corner cedar. He ate the food I put out there. And then he went to this end, north deck, and then he got spooked. Oh, he also went from corner cedar. He went down to the Teacup Trail teepee, around the back side of it, and then he came out, and then it was getting kind of dark, and it wasn't very good filming, but I filmed him anyway. Maybe it'll look better on a big screen. That's one of my pet peeves with, this is kind of cool, you put the lid thing on this and you can just sit and eat it. This is your very own serving of beans and cucumber. Isn't that lovely? I mean, unless somebody else likes it, but if nobody else likes it, go for it. Oh, what were we talking about? Oh, yeah. One of my pet peeves about cameras is they don't seem to do any good in the dark. Even sundown, and they don't take accurate pictures of sunrise and sunset. And they do so much correcting. If you put them to automatic, isn't that just for the flash? It seems they're always making the light darker and the dark lighter, and whatever you want to take a picture of it is not the way it's going to turn out. If it's a sunrise or sunset. It should be able to see what I can see. If I can see it in the dark, it should be able to take a picture of it. Don't you think that's just logical? Sounds perfectly logical to me. It's nice looking at that picture of myself. There's a nice person there. I have no idea what I look like because my glasses barely work. But if you've... Hi, Dean Fire. Have we met? I don't think we've ever met. What is a PQ? P-E-Q-U-E-O-T. Is that a French word, right? PQ? What is a Scottish person using a French word for? Yeah, so soap. I think that's going to be an interesting idea. I think I'm not just going to make soap. I'm going to try and make it with homemade lye. Because I've got all that homemade lye, and I've had it for years and years and years and years and years. And it's dangerous to have it in a glass jar in there. And anyway, I could use those glass jars. So, it's time to figure out how to make lye out of it. It appears one of those jars, the whole top half of the jar, it appears to have crystallized lye in there. It's going to be interesting to open them. I'll have to wear goggles. They sort of corroded the top a bit on account of the lids aren't glass. Some of the canning jars they have in Canada have glass lids. I don't know if that's in the States. My mother always bought me ball canning jars. Kind of a funny thing to say. My mother always bought me ball canning jars. There were two kinds, right? I got rid of a lot of canning jars a few years ago, and in the last few years, 5 years, we've been gardening out here. We have such a pantry full of stuff, and all of it went into canning jars, like dehydrated stuff into canning jars, which is the perfect way to store it. If you don't have power, it's not going to go bad, you know? There's an unfounded rumor out there, which I think we should all be aware of. I mean, the rumor is that things are going to go dark. Now, I'm not sure. I mean, I think it's just a stupid idea, but if you look at what's been going on with Russia and Ukraine, Russia and with the United States, Russia can really. Remember, they got into the computer system of the United States, and they just wandered around. They just wandered around for days. Nobody got them out. There was no fire. They were just wandering around. Maybe it was months. Anyway. If you're on, Rose, can you message Susan to come over here? She just messaged me on Messenger, but if I go there and talk to her, then I'm not here. And how would that be? What would that look like? Oh, remember my white coat? The one that is all beat up pretty bad, but my mom gave it to me, and it's really warm, and it's so soft. And it's got all these rips on it, and there's all black areas. I decided to use patches. I have a pink handkerchief, you know, it's about yay big. I'm going to cut it and make patches out of it. You know, it would really be nice to use napkins, those damask. Is that what it's called, damask? It's beautiful, embossed napkins. But I think they all go with a tablecloth, so if I try and use them, but they would make very pretty patches, wouldn't they? They're a little off-white. No, I think I'll sew them on by hand. I was going to do all this on account of my lovely sewing machine I can now use. All that's left is to thread the needle. I'll be doing that any day now. I took a journal down to the A-frame, and then I sat there and wrote in it. And I took my sketchbook and my pack of pencils there. I decided I should start sketching every day. I should do a sketch every day. But in order to do that, I have to be somewhere beautiful, and so that's the A-frame. So I put it down at the A-frame with a journal, a brand new journal. Now I'm just going to journal every time I go to the A-frame. I'll just journal about being there. And then I won't have to be taking a journal down there all the time. It's a lot of trouble to carry something. I had a very nice time snowshoeing down there, and you guys were there. That was so cool. I don't think any of you realized how amazing it was to be able to be down there and make a live video. There's no cell service in the hollow. Not at all. People, I mean, when I was driving a bus, it was known amongst the bus drivers that there's no reception in that area. And so there we were together by the stream at the A-frame, and I could talk to you. And then, of course, after talking a while, I thought I should actually do something. So we walked down the stream and back to the teepee. And then I got all my stuff out of the car. I took stuff to the teepee because I always like being prepared. I'm a Girl Scout, right? And so I have 2 pairs of mittens, brand new, those white brand new mittens, or gloves. Those hardware store, you get a big stack of them, like 10 pairs for $5 or $10 or something. Anyway, so I took 2 of them, I put in plastic baggies each, Ziploc baggies. And I took down a pair of socks and a blouse and a skirt and an overdress. I put all them in the bag, and then I also took a nice blanket, which I put in another bag. All these are plastic bags, you know. And then I took down all these pillowcases so I can finish putting all the seeds from the Phragmites. They're all in a plastic bag, and I need to get them into something more permanent. So I need to put them into pillowcases. And, you know, put one this way and one that way, maybe a third one, because I don't want those seeds getting loose. But they make awesome pillows, so that's it. They're pillows now. Pillowcases. No. Pillows in pillowcases. Shoot. I also should fix the swing down there. One of the brackets underneath it, like there were 7 poles, and one of them was not a supporting pole, but it broke. And so it changed where instead of making a circle that big, it now made a circle a little bit smaller. And so one side of my swing is it's not that bad, but it's just not quite level. It's just a little off level. But it's got, you know, one of those clamps underneath, the ropes meet underneath. So I could just take my clamp tools down, my wrenches, and I could fix it. I got a little set of sockets today at the dollar store. There was 10 different sizes. I could just, you know, put them in a plastic bag and put them down there so that when I'm down there and I need something, but I don't ever use anything like that down there. Oh well. Not true. Sometimes I have to fix the chainsaw. You know, I also put the deer out here. But they hadn't gotten there yet. We'll see. So how was your day today? Did you have a good day? I think it's so awesome that we got to see the deer. That I got to see the deer. You didn't get to see him as well, but oh, it was so awesome. as he made his way from feeder to feeder. So what I was saying before, since Russia did that little hacking all over, got into the U.S. government computer and stayed in there and wandered around, they can very easily do any kind of cyber attack. Like they have everything, like the nuclear and the electric. You know, they have all the grids. They now know how to access them. If they want to turn it off, they can. And if they're going to go to war and try and take Ukraine, and the rest of the world is going to try and not let them, then they are going to play dirty. And they could play dirty. I don't think that they have much in their best interest to have us all on their side. They don't trade with us that much. Anyway, so we should probably try and be prepared in case we have a long, extended power outage. You know, it's probably not going to happen, but it's always good to be prepared because you won't ever have to worry if it's going to happen. So you should probably get just a little more food than you get now. And probably the canned stuff. And if you can get a hold of seeds and plant a garden, that would be good. I think that canning jars are at a premium right now, if you can find them. But I was able to find some last autumn. Well, that was a lovely cucumber. Did you enjoy your cucumber too? Nice to have dinner together. Oh, look, I have another half. When my little grandson and I started playing Minecraft, we were in a certain part of the world over there. And we did all this stuff, but we didn't have access to the location data, you know? So, like the coordinates, you couldn't see the coordinates. And so we were always lost. We'd go somewhere, we could never find our way back. And so now I've been searching the universe. I've been making these roads up in the air all the way I go flying all the way across the mountains and the rivers and the streams and the oceans. And I just keep going in a straight line, and I'm making this big pathway as I go. And now I'm making a pathway going back, but I went over a few, like 100, I think, squares. I wanted to go over just enough that you could still see it in the distance, but so you wouldn't. Oh, pine nut hummus. Anyway, so that's what I've been doing all day, is going over and finding new places and new things, and it's been very interesting when I play it. I'm not really playing it, I'm just making these pathways and searching. So that was really cool seeing the deer, eh? Do you usually see deer where you are? It's really cool when they're at your house, you know? Don't you think? I mean, it's one thing to see them on a video or on the road, but if they come right up next to your deck and they're coming to the place that you put food, because so like you're in control of their movements, you know, and here they're coming to the place you wanted them to come to, the place where you can see it the best. I think that's a good idea. Just hedgehogs. Well, hello, Hannah Maria Chisholm. You just got back into bed, but now I want a snack. Ah, well, there you go. Oh, a Peugeot. Oh, yeah. No, it's not a Peugeot. Uh-uh. It is. Maybe it's a Toyota Corolla or a Toyota Cornet. No, we had a Dodge Cornet station wagon for a while. Before that, we had, in the 50s, I just remember the car. Big round lights, big fenders that went right over the lights, and Pontiac. This was not the one, this didn't have a fin. It was a station wagon, but it was so big. It was really it was like a van, but it was not. It was a station wagon, and it had, I think it even had wood on it. That was the Pontiac. I can't remember. My parents have always called their cars with names. So naturally, I forgot what that name is. But, you know, there are other names. Like Anki and Maud. Maud was the big Dodge Cornet station wagon. And Coco. Coco was blue, and that was a Dodge Toyota Corolla. The blue Toyota Corolla. That was my dad's, and his name was Coco. Anki was a green 1963 VW Bug. It was cute. Anki. I learned to drive on Anki. I got to drive Anki all over. I mean, you know. All over town. The life of a 16-year-old, eh? Kind of a charmed existence. When you think that you're so smart, you know everything. How did your parents get to be the age they are without learning anything? Does that opinion ever go away? Oh. I guess so, eventually. I've been able to give advice to one of my children. That was quite the bonus. And have them receive it and act on it. That's a rare occurrence, don't you think? It's a good thing I can't see myself because I have these false teeth and I don't have many of them, bottom teeth. I have to eat in the front here. This is my cucumber. I'm dipping it in my my pint jar of hummus I just made. Because that's the name of the video. It's hummus, right? Making hummus. Well, we're going to have to edit it. Making and eating hummus. I really appreciate the support you guys give me. How, you know, like here I am eating, who knows what I look like because I can't see very well with these glasses. Put those red ones on and oh my gosh, I can see everything. And you probably normally see like my red ones do. Like a corn on the cob, isn't it? Things are coming along very well this winter. I've been swinging on the swing a lot. And because of you, I've been doing a lot more housework. And I've been being very creative and putting shelves in all the cupboards in the kitchen and cleaning out the sunroom and cleaning both little bedrooms upstairs and planting a garden in the big bedroom upstairs, in the big room, and rearranging that room and putting all the paperwork away and painting the steps to the loft, or the loft steps, white. And I'm now snowshoeing. I haven't been practicing the violin as much as I want to, but I have been practicing it. When it's in tune, I practice it. Well, actually what happens is I think so. Tahini's tahini, right? It's just, you can use some sesame seeds. They're ground sesame seeds. But you don't need that much of it. At least I don't think you do. There's this reflection with two little lights. Oh, I know what that is. It's the end of the power bar. But it looks like eyes. Little spider eyes, you know, like from Minecraft. So, what was I going to say? Oh, yeah. The violin. I notice when I'm on here live. No, I didn't put, you don't have horseradish in it. That's just my little addition today. Did you know every pepper, every kind of pepper fires a different part of your mouth? So there's some like Indian peppers and different peppers. There's some that you taste them on the side of your tongue. Some are after you swallow them. Some are on the front or the center, you know. All these different peppers with this different, so there's probably a lot of figuring out that goes with the spices in you know, the Indian seasonings and Pakistani seasonings. If they want to have these different areas of their tongue stimulated at the same time, they would use several kinds of pepper. Kind of interesting, eh? My dandelion is opening. Soon I'm going to have a dandelion. Maybe tomorrow the grandchildren are coming over. They don't have school tomorrow, so yay, I get to play. Maybe we'll make pottery stars and put them on the wood stove to cook. And then paint them. That'll be fun. So my violin, I noticed when I notice that I'm online and thinking what's happening here, I notice that when I say something or think something and it triggers a song that's similar and I just start humming it. And I thought I'm just going to go and play the violin every time I think of a song like that. I'm just going to pick up my violin but it's not so easy because, first of all, I don't know if those songs are recurring. I don't know what you guys would know. Or is it the same songs that I sing when I sort of break into song when I'm saying, you know, like whatever I say, and then all of a sudden we're in the middle of a song. You see, that would be nice to have on my violin, but I'd have to write down what they are and learn how to play them so that when I pick it up, I can do that. And so if I do it when I'm singing it, if I'm talking and then I start doing something and I'm singing the song, if I then go over to the violin, then I have to go through this whole process of tuning the violin and then practicing the song over and over and over until I finally can go through it once without any mistakes. That takes a lot. First, I have to pick out where the song is. I have to remember the song and then try and figure out, is that skipping one finger or two fingers, or, you know, notes, or, you know. There are songbooks, but there's one that kicks around this area. It's a folk song book, and it's got all kinds of good old folk songs. It's pretty old. It's got all the Beatles songs too, and it's got all those songs from our days. And these kids think the Beatles is theirs. Ha! Anyway, the trouble with using a songbook like that is that it's not necessary. It's going to be in the piano key, probably in C, maybe in F, maybe in D. Who knows? But it's not necessarily going to be in... isn't it D flat that I need for my violin? Or is it D? Anyway, so if you use an F sharp, is that what it is? The two sharp signs. Anyway, if you have that key and you try and play it on the violin, it will work perfectly. That is whatever key it is in. I don't know what that means though. So yesterday I drove to town. And they put in a bell tower, you know, a cellular tower. And I sat there in the car. Yes, you can use any tahini for hummus. Anyway, I sat there in the car, and I watched. You know, I had gotten my laptop ready with all these videos to put up, and so then I watched. I uploaded them, and I had them all listed. Like there were 5 uploading at once, and so this one was like 1%, and the next one was 5%, and the next one was 1% and 2%, and all like that. By the time I get to the end, if I go back and I look at them all again, they'd all changed. They're all on different tabs on the computer screen. And it would say like an hour and yes, you can leave the horseradish out. That plant looks like it's very unhappy there. It's really dying. Maybe it got too cold. If it was too wet, the leaves would have turned yellow, right? And if it was too dry, the leaves would have turned brown. But the leaves look green, but kind of a gray, a very, very pale brown on the edges, which I think is because they froze. Or just got a little too close to the frost, right? So what's happening out there in your world, guys? It's not dark there in some places of yours, is it? Now, Scotty, you are ahead of us because you're further to the east. And you're 5 hours ahead of us, right? So it's 5:45. Is it 5:45, 5:45? Oh, it's 7:45 here. So that clock needs to get changed. So it's 7:20. So there it's 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So it's 1:45, 1:45. You're in London, England. It's nighttime here. Okay. Hannah Maria Chisholm. Nice to meet you. What brings you over here? It's perfectly fine. I started it a while ago. I started it when we were watching the deer out the window. It was one deer, which I have figured out must now be a buck. It's 11:44. And here it's 6:44. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Ah, yes, there you are. Okay. My nephew is in Australia, and he is 16 hours ahead of us. Storm Corey hit the Netherlands, which is causing something. What did it just say? Oops, sorry. Storm Corey, have you ever heard of that one? Hitting the Netherlands? There's a lot of volcanoes happening right now. I think there's 47 active volcanoes on the earth. Can you believe that? That's a lot. Look at this mess. It's like an ice cream cone. Well, thank you, Hannah. Now, this is not a crafty video at all. This is just me sitting here eating my cucumbers. After we watched the deer, I made hummus. So I guess, is that a craft? Nah. But I'm on the verge of starting to thread the loom. I think that if I take you with me, I can do it. See, reaching my arms out like that, that really hurts after a while. Hurts the middle of your back, right in the center. But you are doing reading for your research degree and have your video on the background for some company. Oh, that's nice. Well, Hannah, it's really nice to hear you there. And a research degree, what's your subject? My family was in research. I did it today, you know. I went down there and I snowshoed those paths. I was quite aware of my age. You see, the thing about snowshoeing, settle into your chair, here it comes. Your foot is now like a clown foot, so it's like a foot across and it's like a foot ahead of your foot, and it extends way back in the background, a yard, or well, maybe not a yard, but a few feet. I mean, if you want to turn around, how are you going to do that? You can't just turn around. You have to go one at a time, and you know you have to keep turning yourself, and so you make this big circle of where you've smashed down. And if you want to sit in a chair, you can't just sit in a chair, because you're coming to the chair like this, and if you turn around, your snowshoes are not going to turn around. You're going to end up sitting in a chair with the snowshoes against the front of the chair, and your feet are on an angle. But if you sit in the chair and then you lean back and you raise one and then you set it on the ground and then you raise the other and set it on the ground, your feet are hanging in them, right? And then you take one and you lift the other one up. So now that the tail is off the ground, then you can lower your snowshoe, and you can slide it right back under the chair. And then to do this one, now this one's already in. So this one it's a little more tricky. You have to somehow get the back up, because if you just stick the back straight, it's going to get tangled. Anthropology of the elderly. What in the world is anthropology of the elderly? Is that anthropology is culture too, isn't it? Culture and the remains. The remains of the elderly. Oops. Are we elderly yet? We are early elderly, that's what I hear. Chisholm is Scottish. I wondered. I know a lady, Sister Chisholm. She's a very nice lady. So I'm going to have to start writing down the names of the different songs that I happen to sing or hum or whatever. Increase my repertoire, right? So when I sat down there at the A-frame this afternoon, after I had snowshoed from the car, which was, well, I got out of the car and I put my snowshoes on the ground under the guardrail. And then I kept one leg on one side of the guardrail and I put the other leg over and then put it in my snowshoe, so now it's ahead of me. And then I got my other... So then Rachel Maddaw is taking a hiatus. I just thought, it's breaking news. You heard it here last. Oh. Research for the elderly. I was hearing today about a connection between sugar and Alzheimer's. My mother had Alzheimer's, but she hadn't had sugar in years and years. So how could that be it? I guess there's others. This person was saying that Alzheimer's is a dementia of the brain from sugar. It's a side effect of sugar. But I don't know. It's hard, you don't really get the research. You have to subscribe to those, like Nature magazine and Science magazine. But even Psychology Today, I don't know. I think that's more of the story of what they found out rather than the actual research. But you can also often find you used to be able to Google research papers and come up with them on the internet. So you could read actual research. You read how many were in the study and what were the control subjects doing, and what was the actual experiment that was done. Well, it sounds like you're into it. You're going to know all these things, and you're going to learn more things about it, Hannah. And you'll probably do breaking research. Won't that be cool? My sister's always doing breaking research. It's very cool. Her lab, she has a lab. And when she was hired, she changed from the university to a big deal corporation. And when she was hired there, they brought her lab too. So she's got all her labbies. And these are the graduate students that she's had for years. I mean, I guess they're not graduate students anymore, but and so she's published many papers with these people. I always love reading her research. In fact, she did breakthrough research on aging. Won't it be fun to do research? I love research. I guess My whole life is kind of a research experiment. Mm, what will it taste like if I add this? What will it taste like if I completely do it differently? What will happen to me if I eat this? I gotta be careful I don't start eating like an old person. You know, old people often have all their food is on their front. You know, oh, I'll have that and that and that for dinner. Or lunch, I'll have those, that, ketchup and mustard. I'll have all those things for lunch tomorrow. I refer to it as food storage. Something falls down one of the children's shirts. I said, well, that's okay. You can just eat that later. It's there for you because you get hungry. So I guess it's getting later now, eh? It's 6 o'clock. It's late. Here's one. I gotta write this song down. It's later than it's ever been, and now it's even later. Now it's even later. Now it's even later. It's especially fun for an anthropologist because you are talking to people and immersing yourself. Oh, I would love that. It really is like you say, everything is research in it when you're curious about life. Yeah, like what's that bird doing? Why? What's all that stuff on the snow? I saw a tree today that had fallen down. A part of it had broken, and there was these two forks, and they were really big. They were maples, so they were each probably over a foot wide. So you've got these two, and one has already come down. No, one of the two broke off high up, and it left this open place, but it's all full of decaying matter. And there in the crook of it was all kinds of more decaying matter, plus chips of wood, and then chips of wood all over down below on the snow. So that was interesting. I had to go over and see what that was. I imagined it was from a pileated woodpecker, because that's what they do, right? They just make holes everywhere and they leave these big chunks of wood everywhere. But it might not have been. It might have been I don't know what else it would have been. But I didn't see any woodpecker holes in it. I don't know. I'm not sure where it happened. I have to go back and look. Maybe I just didn't see something. It was so cool having you guys down there at the stream today. You have no idea. That is so rare to be able to make a live. That's the very first live video I've ever made down there. Very first one. I did once get into a conversation with my son, though, I think, in Vietnam. But it wasn't a live video. But YouTube has finally allowed it to connect. I turned off my Wi-Fi. And, hey, my Wi-Fi is still off, isn't it? I turned off my Wi-Fi and my Bluetooth to keep it from using any extra power. Because the Wi-Fi, it's always searching. And I had the battery on low battery. Today is the last day of January. So I'm going to try and use up all my data. So yesterday when I was uploading all those videos from the car in the village, it was using my data, and after some time it said 50% of my data was gone. And then after another while, it said 90% of my data was used up. So I did it. I mean, I have a little left today if this is not on Wi-Fi. But it's, you know, a new billing cycle starts soon. Maybe it starts the day after tomorrow. So that's my goal every month, is to use up all my data by going to the village and uploading videos from my Zoomy camera. But my Zoomy camera didn't turn on. I had it plugged in for all that time, and it didn't never got charged all the way. I feel like going and learning something. I'm kind of tired of talking about stuff. I want to go and watch stuff. I want to watch documentaries, I think. I want to learn the news, too. See if there's any latest updates on the trucking thing in Ottawa. And I want to see, I have these, I watch a variety of things. I watch earthquake stuff, and I watch stuff about global warming or climate change or the Antarctic and the Arctic melting and glaciers. And I watch stuff about volcanoes. And then there's these videos of a compilation of like everything that happened in the world today in the weather, every disaster that happened in the world today. And so it'll be like a volcano and floods and more floods and more floods and earthquakes and snowstorms and tornadoes and cyclones and everything, whatever the world has experienced that day. And it's amazing the places that you would never think of, like in Saudi Arabia and in the UAE and all those Kuwait and all those other little countries around Saudi Arabia. Are they around Saudi Arabia? Anyway, but I like learning about all that stuff that's going on. So I'm kind of know what's happening on my planet, right? I know what the weather's doing and where it's bad now, and I get to find out why. And that's, I like that stuff. And I'm fascinated by earthquakes and volcanoes and tectonic plates. And then sometimes we watch the news, and Rachel Maddow, but she's going on a hiatus for a few weeks. That's kind of, I don't like it when she's gone. She's quite an investigative reporter. I don't know how many people she's got working with her, but she'll get a bee in her bonnet. And then she'll go and check, and she'll find out, why did he say that? What was that about? And so then she starts doing some research, or she reads the New York Times really well. And David Ignatius, who's on the New York Times, he's really good at finding out the news. And so she'll talk about that stuff, but then she'll have done all kinds of in-depth stuff. But it won't start out with what the major story is. It'll start out as this little thing happened at this little company. And then this person moved, and this little thing happened, and this thing happened. And then this thing happened over here, and, we've heard about different things along the way. Or maybe not. And so you hear this whole backstory, and then you get into the present of, whoa, that's what's going on. And a lot of the way it's always been is the justice system seems to, kind of rely on the investigative reporting of journalists. And it's silly that journalists and investigative reporting has all become bad words now, but it's really cool. It's really cool. And they go in and they find out and they interview people and they find out for themselves, and then they tell us as much as they're allowed to tell us, you know, like they can't tell you everything because there's confidentiality things, but of who said what. But they really go in and they find the research, and that's like how some of these major cases have started, is because of the journalists that took the time and effort to go and check it out. I mean, that's how Watergate started, isn't it? These two guys just, you know, they just thought this is a cool story. Let's just look into this, and they did. Bernstein, Howard and Bernstein, or something, Bernstein Howard. Is that the two names? Leonard and Bernstein. That's a different thing, isn't it? You're sitting on my table, which I am rocking with my feet, which I mustn't do. This is much better for my body to sit in this chair, you know, because I'm continually moving. Continually talking, too. I think I'm getting full. Anyway, but you've seen that, haven't you? Where you'll get there'll be a breaking news story, and then the authorities, they've got their ears up, and so they start looking around themselves. So I love how that works. I love how that works. Maybe I should look up and see if there's, like, that's why I watch murder mysteries. Murder mysteries is good, but mysteries are really cool because, except now they're pretty violent and gory and blood, guts, and gore. I have to write that song down. But I didn't, and I didn't write the first one down, so neither of them are written down. And who knows what they were now. I could ask you. If you have ever heard me sing a song when I'm doing the dishes or something, could you please write it down in the comments? And then I will finally have a list of the songs that I sing. Otherwise, when I'm playing the violin, I'm kind of remembering songs from the distant past, you know, campfire songs and I have very long, skinny fingers, don't I? Wow. Look at all those veins. What happened to my skin? I used to have skin over everything. Now my skin is all falling off. I'm melting. I'm melting. See, when I hear the news on when Willem's in the living room, my ears perk up and I want to go there. Sometimes I like to be entertained, but not usually. Well, maybe that's not true. But I love watching shows and being able to say, oh, this is going to happen. I like saying that. And Willem is so, and then it's immediately as soon as I say it, it happens. There's this little tell when there's a movie. They will mention something and sure enough, right away it happens. Like they'll say, gee, I wonder how it's going over there at Station 5. And next thing you know, immediately, you hear the guy say that, and next thing you know, the phone rings and it's Station House number 5, and they're telling you exactly that thing, right? So there's these little tells. It's almost like paragraph connectors. I used to love English. I used to love diagramming sentences. Did you ever do that? You know, you should be answering all these questions in the comments. Otherwise, I won't know. And then it'll be like I was here all by myself having a party with myself. Hello, self. Hi. She's my best friend. Been with me through everything. She knows everything about me. She knows every thought I had. She knows all the rationalizations. She knows everything good, bad, and ugly that has ever gone through my head. And she loves me anyway. Look at that smile. Look at how she looks at me. Like she just loves me. Hi, Nancy. Hi. So are you Nancy yesterday or are you Nancy tomorrow? Because I'm Nancy today. Maybe we're in parallel dimensions. I like how we keep meeting like this. It's kind of cool. You should look me in the eye. But you see, then I have to look at a camera and I'm not really even looking in your eyes. Yeah, she's my best friend. She loves me to pieces. She thinks I have gorgeous hair. She likes it when I put my hair up like this. And she likes, well, she wishes the glasses were not so crooked, but yep. She likes it when I dress this way. Cardigan sweater with a skirt and a blouse. That was always my favorite style. But I had hips and I didn't look good in cardigan sweaters. At least I didn't think I did. It was the wheat, you know? I stopped eating wheat and all of a sudden I have flat hips. How is that possible? But every time I eat any, the littlest amount, I got hips. Every single time. What's with that? Like, I'd like to do some research on some of these things. I wish there was somebody had already done the research, but you know, often there isn't anybody that's done the research, so you got to do it yourself. I'm working with a test group of 1. Oh, campfire memories. I think being in the teepee with a lot of people, making soup on the fire, making a stew, making a really nice hearty vegetable stew, and having all the kids and maybe the missionaries all into the teepee with me and Willem right out here on the driveway. I think I had a lot of memories like that. Being in the teepee, working on making soap over the fire, like boiling down my homemade lye. And I had a teepee that was right out here for a while. Hi, Daphne. Thanks for speaking up. Nice that you're here again. We're just hanging around. I've eaten my way through this huge cucumber after I made hummus, you see. Yep, I made all the hummus and it's pretty good. Whoa. Anyway, so somebody asked what was my favorite campfire memory. I think it was the glass teepee right out here on the driveway. And I had at one time a hammock that was tied to the poles under the glass, and the glass would all shift slightly. All the windows were within their own frames, and they were screwed to everything. They were all on the outside, so they couldn't fall in. And so if the things moved at all, if they were screwed too tightly, they would wreck. But some of them were just the big ones at the bottom. They were just leaning against it. It was a pretty good angle, so nothing fell off, and the wind never blew anything off. I did have some screwed on. One of them was partly inside on one side and out on the other side. But anyway, whatever. And I used to turn on the campfire lights, and the lights went all the way around the teepee. I started them. When you put up a teepee, you end up with a rope after you've tied everything and then you've got it all up. There's a rope hanging. So you have to take the rope and you go around the outside, the top of the teepee, and you pull it snug so it's up there at the apex. Well, I had this huge long thing of Christmas lights attached to it. And hi, Susan. There you are. I saw when you messaged me before, and I couldn't go over there and tell you. I told Rose to tell you, whatever it was, tell you that we were over here. Anyway, so my favorite campfire, the teepee, the glass teepee, which is called the Crystal Palace, which there is a whole playlist of videos of there. Also, everything that had a campfire. There's a video, a playlist called Campfires. Anyway, so I had these lights that went all the way around, and then I had the windows on the outside of it, and I had taken foam insulation. I had filmed up all the, it's really kind of hard because you're dealing with, what's this shape called? Uh, it's not a triangle. It's like four sides. Well, I'm glad you're back, and I hope you're feeling better. I hope you're feeling much better. I keep praying for you. So anyway, is it a quadrupod or something? Anyway, a straight, two parallel lines and two lines that are not. So that is because that's the way these came, and you're taking a rectangle and you're putting it over these two poles. And so you're ending up with those kind of things. But then once you get one on, you can sit the next one on it and the next one on that. You just have to keep getting smaller pieces because it's a circle. And at every pole, you've got a different angle. So you can't put something, these three being the poles, you can't put something straight on there or, it's going to, and not all windows are the right size. Right? So anyway, so I had all these gaps and I filled them with old clothes. I mean, I was really into nature. Thank you, Susan. Yes. Oh, I know that's what you said. Something about your right. Okay, that's good. So I took these Christmas lights and I wound them all the way around all the poles, and they had to go over the door. We had the back door. We had taken the back door off of the. It was that over there was the back door where that curtain is now. And where I'm sitting was out in the yard, and that was the woodshed was on this side. Does that make sense? This is the outside door right over here. Anyway, so we took that door off and replaced it, and I put the door on the teepee, which was really we had a big angle, but it had a top on. It was in its frame, so I tried to attach the frame. Well, that's good on one side, but you've got this shape again. So you're trying to put a rectangle into this shape. And so anyway, in the end, I mean, it had a lot of gaps beside it, but and it was pretty heavy to open the door, but it was so neat. It was such an awesome place. And I would light a fire a lot. We had a lot of fires in there. And later, Abraham made lots of fires in there. I always had lots of furniture in them. I always, that one I had, well, I had a hammock and I had a bench that swung, and I had another bench that, it's just different times. It went through so many different things over the years. So Susan, when you get here, you can scroll up and see all the conversations, eh? So everybody can go back and read all the conversations when they get here. Hello, 9 people. 6 thumbs ups. Like and subscribe and hit the bell. Ding! If you want to. If you don't want to, just ignore me. I had such a good day today. I'm so glad I got out there in the sunshine. I really needed that. I sit inside, or I'm working inside and it's sunny out, and if I don't get out there, like if Zane calls in the middle of the day and isn't going to school and can I please play Minecraft all day long? Well, I don't want to say no. I want to be available for him. I love spending time with him. It's awesome. Right? So why would I not do that? But then I miss a few days of not being able to go out in the sun. And we have so few days of really brilliant sunshine in the winter sometimes. I like my hair in the front, and I like it poofy. And I like it with all those curls. But you know what? It's gotten so small. Look at this. Look at that. I mean, you can hold this with a clip this size. Well, almost. Can you believe that? Like, I used to have clips that were this long. They were the big, heavy-duty clips. And then I would put my hair up. But my gosh, now my hair is... But that is one of the symptoms of being in your 60s. Your skin starts to melt, gets thin and stretches, and your hair falls out. Hi, Jack. And you get to see all your veins. I was asking my Dot the other day what happens to your body as you age, and like what happens to your body as you age when you're 61, or what happens to your body when you age when you what happens to your brain when you age, what happens to your face when you age, what happens to your hands when you age, and your muscles and tendons. There's stuff that happens with them too, and your bones. It's very interesting. I mean, there I am doing research again. Exactly. I think that this is the next great adventure, right? Is all the anatomy lessons, because our bodies will die of something, right? So something has to kill our bodies. Some part of our bodies has to break down. Hi, Jack. Hello, hello. Now, are you Jack in London, or are you Jack in England? Don't we have a Jack in London, England, and Jack in London, Ontario? I forget. I'd have to look in my book, which is upstairs. So I'm going to use this pink stuff. I'm going to use this pink scarf. I'm going to cut it in pieces. I've already cut some pieces out of it, which I am going to nicely hem around the corners. You're in England. Ah, yes, so it's very late at night. You're studying. And what is it? You're going to be an astronomer. Is that right? Or an astronaut, possibly. Was that you, Jack, or was that the Jack? 20 pounds. Yes, that's you. Good. That's good to keep you straightened out. And Scotty is in Scotland, hence the name Scotty. I just put that together. My goodness, does your brain ever slow down when you age? Look at how long my hair got. Whoo! That's so cool. I haven't had hair this long since... I guess I cut my hair when Abe was... How old was he? Maybe he was 10 or 11. No, I think maybe he was 10. And I would be writing articles, and he'd come behind me and he'd play with my hair. It was really nice to have a son that would play with my hair. Oh, your name is also Scott. Scott from Scotland. That makes it so much easier. Anyway, so this has been since then that it's now gotten this long. Because once you cut it short, you have to keep it short. You're going to bed now? You had enough research for the night, enough of your studies? Keep us in tune. I'd like to hear what you're doing. Whenever I'm live or anything, or, just let us know how it's going and what you're researching, because that's really fascinating. You're welcome. Good night. Sleep tight. Don't let the bed bugs bite. But of course, there weren't any bed bugs. We've said that for 100 years, and there were no bedbugs. Not 100. I'm not 100. I had to read the Twitter notification. I have all the news coming in every minute. I know the latest on everything that's happening. But I'm hearing stuff in there, so I think I want to go and veg out now for a while. So if you don't mind, I think I'm going to say good night. Good night. What time is it? It's not late enough to go to bed. Hey, maybe my deer will come back. It's 20 after 7, so I think it's time for me to go and turn on the boob tube, see what I can find. Okay, catch you later.